Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
You know, on anniversaries, there are different materials for each year. I don't know what year
What's
75 is. I don't know.
Frank, do you know what year 75 is? The color? No, he doesn't know.
Is 50 gold?
I think so.
25 is silver?
Right.
I got
But what we're going to talk about today on the Saturday HOA Brunch is ARC. There's an acronym for you. Do you want to go ahead?
Architectural Review Committee. We're going to talk about architectural rules. Welcome, everybody, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, brought to you by Angius&Terry. If you'd like to join the conversation, Jonathan, the number is
888-923-1380. And the reason why we're going to discuss this is because I was just Googling around on the internet, and I started to shed a tear when I saw this lady spent $65,000 to build a dock. And then guess what?
What?
She didn't go through the ARC and take all of the steps necessary with the association's rules.
Architectural Review Committee. She didn't go through that.
Guess
She didn't
what?
submit an architectural review application.
Yeah, and so then guess what she got to do after she spent $65,000 on her nice boat dock? She
Remove
got
it?
to watch the HOA dismantle it.
Wow.
Right? So $65,000, it's a pretty hefty chunk of change.
There should there be repercussions if you don't follow the rules, especially the architectural rules. If you'd like to text us, feel free to do so at 916-747-4622. This is the show about community associations, community association issues, community association governance, and community association law primarily. And today we are going to be talking about architectural rules. In addition, we're going to weave into the conversation.
Like a basket.
Right. You made that analogy previously. We're going to talk about association rules in general. We're also going to talk about the installation of solar energy systems and the installation of
charging
electric
station.
Vehicle charging
Those
stations.
are getting popular.
Wow.
I see them all over the place now.
Yes.
Vehicle charging station.
I dealt with it just 2 days ago, and an owner was very concerned about the governing document revisions that we're putting together, in that they did mention the approval of electric vehicle charging stations. And this owner said, I installed my electric vehicle charging station in my garage of my detached home. So this association has a number of homes detached. They're not attached to one another. It was in her garage on her lot, and she was taking issue. But we were able to make her feel better in that she did not have to submit an architectural review application because the charging station was completely within her garage, and the association CC&R said that owners only had to submit an architectural review application for improvements that could be seen from the exterior of the lot.
So she always has to keep her garage door closed when she charges her vehicle.
There's always one in a crowd, Jonathan. Always one in a crowd. We're talking about the Davis-Sterling Act, and that is the law that has to do with nothing but community associations. And you know how you can tell whether your association is actually a Davis-Sterling Act community association? Do you know?
Look it up, right?
Look it up. Look it up. Where would you look it up?
You could look it up on the California Secretary of State website. That's one place to start.
It is one place to start. You know if you are a community association governed by the Davis-Sterling Act when you have common area. That is, so addition to lots, you have common area. You have some property that is owned by either the association or the owners as tenants in common.
And your corporation's registered with the Secretary of State.
That is true. That is true. You have to have a slightly different registration with the Secretary of State in addition to a nonprofit corporation, your nonprofit mutual benefit corporation, a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation that concerns community associations. That is, you have common areas. So what types of rules are we talking about? We're talking about use of a separate interest concerning aesthetic or architectural standards that govern alteration of a separate interest. So that is in the Davis-Sterling Act, and that is when you need to, if you're going to change your ARC rules, like you say, Architectural Review Committee rules, or anything concerning architectural approval, no matter what you call it, Well, you're going to need to go through a process. So board of directors, in other words, a board of directors, they can't just change the architectural rules without going to a particular process. Board of directors can't just show up at a meeting and say, we have changed the architectural rules. Or
that'd make it really easy, right, for them to be tyrants if they could just automatically just say, you know what, let's get out the erasable pen. We're changing this one tonight. All in favor? Well, nobody showed up to the meeting. All right, we're going to go ahead and move forward with this.
Right. Instead, a board of directors has to go to a particular process that gives the owners basically a type of due process, a type of notice, and the opportunity to be heard with respect to the board's adoption of rules. So these are different than, say, the CCNRs and bylaws and articles of incorporation, which generally require a vote of the owners, right? You want to change your CCNRs, you're going to need a vote of the owners. Minimum, you're going to need to get the approval of the owners, of a majority of the owners.
What about a super majority?
And that happens a lot,
How many is that?
And what you would need in that case is, what we're talking about there is, you need the approval more than a majority, so you would need, in many cases, 67% of the owners, 75%, 90%. It could get difficult, and what is popular now is when the association can get at least a majority of the owners to vote in approval of the CCNRs, but they can't get the supermajority, then we can go to court.
What?
And the court, we can petition the court, and the court can deem these CCNRs approved based on just a majority. And again, it's a similar type of situation where the owners are getting due process, they get notice and the opportunity to be heard. The association will send out, and we've had questions about this, text over the week, ask for a little clarification on this one, that's why we're touching upon it. And in that case, the association files a petition with the court, and that petition is sent to all the owners, and they all get a chance to come into court and say, no, we don't think, even though they got a majority of the owners, some owners might say, well, you didn't get the supermajority.
I ain't going for it.
And in that case, yeah, we're not going for it. We object. It's not a reasonable CCNR provision. The court has to make that determination then. That is whether it is a reasonable change to the CCNRs. Or a revision, amendment or revision. You know the difference between an amendment or a revision, right?
I don't want to bore the lilistenership
Go ahead and tell
with this topic again, because this is like a zinger you throw at me every other week.
Zing!
That I beg to differ. This is the first time I've asked you that, but it is based on a slightly funny story. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Never mind.
What are you thinking of?
No, I had a picture of someone else in the break room at work asking me the same question, and so it threw me back.
Okay, I gotcha. All right. So how do we know when our architectural application rule, whatever you want to call them, it's interesting. I want to raise this issue. Okay.
I want to raise this issue. You're a homeowner.
Okay.
And
go
you
ahead.
have
you go first.
Your realtor just said sign on the line that is dotted and wants to just sell you the house, right? Now you're decided that you want to make some renovations. Maybe you want to put a shed in the backyard. Maybe you want to paint your house. But you have no idea where to get the information.
Like what you need to do as far as
or like the rules
to get permission.
Permission.
Or what is permitted.
Yeah. Or what is permitted. So when we come back from the break, we left the listenership with this cliffhanger. We're going to hopefully answer it for them.
We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dave Diamond from MyPillow. MyPillow is not like ordinary pillows that go flat or lose shape. I still get people coming up to me and asking me, Dave, is it true what you say about MyPillow? Absolutely. MyPillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. I'll never go back to my old pillow. Go to MyPillow.com, find the right pillow that fits you and the way you sleep. Click on the Radio Listener Special. 2 premium pillows, queen or king, and 2 free Go Anywhere pillows. 4 pillows for the price of 1. Use promo code KTKZ. With MyPillow, not only do I feel better, I sleep better all night long. Go to MyPillow.com today. Find the right pillow for you. Click on the Radio Listener Special. 2 premium pillows, king or queen, plus 2 free Go Anywhere pillows. And remember, MyPillow comes with a generous 60-day return policy and an incredible 10-year warranty. And it's made right here in the USA.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com. If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Okay, here we go.
Well, it's a party. We left the listeners with a cliffhanger, and it was almost like a how-to.
How to what?
How to find out how you can do whatever you want in your community association. No, it's to figure out the rules for projects.
Architectural review, architectural improvements. How do you find those rules? And those rules are, I think, in 2 places. They are in the CC&Rs, and they can also be in architectural rules.
What if I own a
architectural
mule?
rules. And if they're in the CC&Rs, they're going to be in an article in the You know how the CC&Rs are broke up into a number of articles?
Yeah.
And so most CC&Rs do require owners to obtain approval from the association before they do make many improvements. And typically those improvements would be exterior, right? So think about this. So there's detached homes, 100 detached homes in a development, and an owner wants to do some interior decorating. Now, do you think that they need to get the association's approval for that?
Absolutely not.
Unless, of course, it is going to do something that affects the structure or the noise carrying capability, somehow affects other owners. But otherwise, typically,
if you're going to paint the
CC&Rs won't.
interior of your home, then don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I think that's
my
good.
opinion.
Now, let's switch to a
No, but I wanted to even jump back further. In the move, that big binder with everything in regards to your community association that was supposed to be given to you and disclosed, right? It's somehow got thrown in the dumpster unpacking. So now
You're talking about a new owner, someone just buys into their
the association.
condominium association.
There you go.
Okay.
And now they want to know. Oh, where do I find another set of my CC&Rs and rules? Where do they start?
What do you
just pick
think
up
they
the
should
phone,
start?
call the management company, and they'll just send them right out.
For a fee?
For a fee.
Of course, right.
Are there any other options?
That's fair, right? Your community
so.
association is typically run by a board of directors with a management company. That's the typical scenario. In that, the board of directors, they're not getting paid, right? They're volunteers, and that's how, if they do get paid, then they're not going to be covered by directors and officers, errors and omissions insurance. So always bear that in mind. Your board of directors, their fellow owners, they're voted onto the board. They should not have to do extra work because they're not even getting paid for
Could
the
you
work
imagine
that
if they
do
got
do.
that option though? Like, well, we can afford a salary or jeopardize our, liability with insurance. How many of them you think would take the salary
Yeah, it used to be an issue years ago.
instead of the insurance? Like, we're going to save
No
on the
way.
premium and we're just going to collect a little paycheck. I think it'd get a lot more competitive, the
Right,
elections,
right.
and filling
All right,
the seats.
so let's do some substantive law real quickly. Let's cover the rule adoption law, get that out of the way. And so let's say that our owner has found some architectural rules and they're really old. He brings it to the attention of the board of directors. The board of directors says, you know what, let's bring this up to date. Let's go ahead and let's include some information, some rules regarding solar installation, right? Solar energy systems and electric vehicle charging stations. Let's put that in the rules. Before they do that, the board of directors, they need to go through a couple of steps in order to make those rule adoption changes. Number one, they need to give notice to the owners at least 30 days before they make this change at a board meeting. 30 days before a board meeting, the board of directors needs to send out or post the rules, the change
Either or,
rules.
not both. Either or.
Either.
Probably.
Post it or send it.
If your association's going green, just post it. Then you don't have to send
like that,
everybody
huh?
a letter. Yeah.
You know,
One place.
And in the rule, also along with the rules, the board of directors also has to state the purpose and effect of these rules. What are you trying to achieve? What's going to happen with these new rules? And it causes the board of directors to give a little bit more due process. Then at the board meeting, where the board determines whether to adopt the rules, the board of directors must allow any owners to comment. And typically, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if it's typical or not, but I think it's a good idea for board of directors in their notice to the owners to say, any owner, if they want to give any comments, they could send something in or they could go to the meeting, right? Because don't you think it's better to have a little heads up beforehand? Wouldn't it be great if you had advance notice of the questions that you need to answer?
On a test?
Aren't you more successeful in that way?
Absolutely.
Preparation? Yeah, so you tell the owners, if you have any qualms, questions, concerns, comments about these rule changes we're going to adopt, let us know. Send us something
And
in
man,
writing.
those questions, qualms, concerns, and comments at the open forum, I imagine, when some of these changes, I bet that really irritate some of the membership, and they come out in force, right? Does that make you ever see that? Do you have any war stories like that?
You're pushing me to say war stories again. I love it. Well, I would say that typically owners are happy with their board of directors, and unless it's a big issue that that splits the community, such as something where some of the homes have a particular quality that will be affected by the rule and some don't. What do they say about real estate? Community associations are real estate, and community associations, every unit is different because it's in a different geographic location, right? Location, right? If you listen to the real estate review, right, that's what they're going to tell you. That's
And that it's
important.
balmy out.
So that's important to know that when you move into a community association that you can be affected differently by particular rule. If you want to be heard, let's talk about this. So you're at the meeting, you're a board of directors, you have this rule change you sent out to the owners, and there is, in your 100-unit development, there are 8 owners that show up at the meeting. And like you said, there's what, they're spitting fire?
Could be.
Could be, okay? Could be because it affects them.
Yeah,
It affects
they're
them in a
spitting
big way.
fire because they can't mount dishes anymore in their community.
Satellite
And a lot of
dishes?
them had DirecTV, and that's just
Well, that would be impossible.
really.
Impossible because of the strong federal laws concerning satellite dishes. So not the best example, but it does give us a chance to let everyone know. And I think,
Mount that dish.
yeah, and dishes are not a big issue. But so these 8 homeowners come there, and so how should a board of directors react to this? They're angry, they're spitting fire. Well, it's a business. Associations, board members are running a business, so they don't need to get angry back, right? Hear them out, and you can make changes to the rules. But always remember, you have a 100-unit development and 8 owners showed up. How representative are they? Might not be very representative. However, they may have ideas that affect the whole association in a very big way, because what I was saying earlier was that most owners at community associations, they are fine with the board of directors, and they don't get involved in the decisions. They are busy people, and there is a little bit of apathy,
Does
right?
any of them own a
And
mule?
it might, it might not really be accurate. It might just be that owners have other things in their lives, and if a decision is a little bit different than how they would have done it, they're not going to get heated on that.
And I have just a quick little nugget, and I'm not going to give away my source, but if you have a common area or a community center clubhouse, the best trick when you know that you're going to have one of these small militias show up to a meeting for a change in the community is have someone bake fresh cookies in the kitchen so that the smell and the aroma calms everybody down. Someone told me that at a meeting. Have you ever heard that?
I believe it.
So if it smells like fresh cookies in your clubhouse, the meeting is going to be calm and smooth.
Absolutely. The surroundings, what your clubhouse is like, different types of clubhouses sort of give you a different feeling, right?
Yeah, but if they smell
We've been
like
in
fresh
a lot
cookies,
of clubhouses are different. Okay, how about we go to a lot of meetings, right, Jonathan, where they are at pizza restaurants.
yeah, and it smells like pizza. Everyone's
it's-
happy.
yeah.
Kids are running around playing video games.
Definitely. So it makes a difference.
All right. So there's about a minute and a half before we have to go to break. And so the litigation corner is something we've tried, right? Is that what you wanted to?
Yeah, so let's go introduce our litigation minute.
Litigation minute.
And introducing our new character, Hugh Waverly here, and this is your litigation minute. The year was 1994 when the California Supreme Court decided the #1 landmark court case of Narstead v. Lakeside Village Condominium Association.
I am you.
The Supreme Court justice that dissented said that this case illustrated that it is better to be a mouse in a cat's mouth than a man in a lawyer's hands. It's better to be a mouse in a cat's mouth than a man in a lawyer's hands. Notori Narstead was suing her condominium association. Lakeside Village Condominium Association had a CC&R provision providing that no one may have any pets, including cats, in their homes. Notori claimed that the prohibition on pets was unreasonable as applied to her because her 3 cats stayed indoors, were noiseless, and created no nuisance. The court recognized the benefits of pets and cats in particular. However, the court ruled that a CC&R provision is enforceable unless unreasonable, such as being arbitrary, substantially more burdensome than beneficial to the development, or violates a fundamental public policy. The court reasoned that the focus on whether a CC&R provision is enforceable is the effect on the development as a whole, not on the individual homeowner. The court concluded by ruling that Notori failed to show that the cat prohibition was arbitrary, substantially more burdensome than beneficial to the development, or violated a fundamental public policy. The court ruled in favor of the association and dismissed Notori's lawsuit. Remember, it is better to be a mouse in a cat's mouth than a man in a lawyer's hands. And that was your litigation minute.
Man, how much are we paying this Hugh Waverly guy? That was great. Okay, we're going to go to break. When we come back, what are you going to finish up with, Counselor, the second half of the show today?
Okay, we're going to get into the some tips and pointers with respect to making sure that you...
Back
back to this exciting episode of HOA Brunch after this.
Does your HOA community need help with reconstruction or repairing damage caused by construction defects, dry rot, or just normal wear and tear? Hire the pros. The GB Group has been successfully serving and renovating community associations in California and Nevada for over 20 years. Find out about their service first commitment. Call the GB Group today. Toll free 800-653-7172. That's 1-800-653-7172. Or find them online at gbgroupinc.com. That's gbgroupinc.com.
Having trouble understanding your community association's reserve study? Does your HOA's reserve study seem to be written in a strange language? Hi, I'm Robert Browning, owner of the Browning Reserve Group. At the Browning Reserve Group, we have been providing easy-to-understand reserve studies since 1999. We actually listen to our communities and help them plan for the future. Find us online at browningrg.com. That's browningrg.com, or toll free at 877-708-0600. That's 877-708-0600. Clarity from complexity, the Browning Reserve Group.
If you are a community association or manager, you know your banking relationship is vital to your success. At Sacramento Bank of Commerce, a division of Redding Bank of Commerce, our industry expertise and personal attention make that task a breeze. With our specialized banking, lockbox, online banking, and remote deposit capture, trips to the bank are no longer necessary. And Sacramento Bank of Commerce can help your communities with a loan to repair, replace, or upgrade the investment. For local decisions and in-house processing, get in touch with our team today. Call Sacramento Bank of Commerce at 916-772-0131. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Rick Russo, owner of Russo Insurance Agency and Financial Services. We proudly serve Granite Bay, Roseville, Rockland, Sacramento, Lake Tahoe, and the surrounding areas. At Russo Insurance Agency, we like to say, get to know us before you need us. Our insurance agency is built on relationships and trust. If you want to be certain that your most valuable assets are insured correctly, allow us to give you more than just a 15-minute quote. For all your commercial, home, auto, and life insurance needs, call us today at 916-791-1901. That's 916-791-1901, or online at rickrussoinsurance.com. That's rickrussoinsurance.com. Thank you.
Did you see the story about the Homeowners Association? I wonder what their residents think.
I don't know, but I love my condominium association. The place looks great and is well managed, and our property values are increasing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Community Associations Institute, CAI, has helped us build a great community. They have tools for safeguarding our investment, including education for our board and professional training for our manager. Just visit CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Okay, responsiblecommunities.com.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
All right, that was our little conversation. Page 3. Not of the Davis Sterling Act, but of our little secret set of notes here for the third quarter of the Saturday HOA Brunch.
All right, so let's talk about discretion, right, Jonathan? So
right.
When it comes to being a board member, board members have a broad amount of discretion as long as they comply with their fiduciary duty, right?
Yep. Oh, bye, Hugh. Hugh's leaving. I was just waving goodbye.
Their decisions need to be reasonable, in the best interests of the association as a whole, made after a reasonable inquiry. So if a board of directors isn't an expert in something and they're making a decision, they need to go ahead and get competent consulting on that issue. So, but what about a committee? What about the ARC, Architectural Review Committee? So you need to look at the CC&Rs, right? When in doubt, go to
the CC&Rs.
The CC&Rs. A good set of CC&Rs will have sufficient detail in order for the association to run itself, right? So we do governing document revisions all the time, primarily CC&Rs. And if you have a really old set of CC&Rs, it's going to lack not only the current laws, but they typically lack sufficient detail in order for the association to run. So it's a great idea to get your CC&Rs revised. In particular, the provision that concerns architectural review and the discretion of the Architectural Review Committee. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because times are changing, right? With the ARC and updating the rules and making sure that they're detailed, you have a lot of different variables that are going to be coming into effect. Well, for example, the artificial turf installation, solar energy, these are all new things. And
yeah,
if you don't have
exactly.
if you don't have a set of guidelines in regards to this new green energy out there, then homeowners could just run wild in your community association.
I concur. And I was thinking exactly about that point this morning, in that we say, oh, the times are changing, right? We have the issues about terrorism and about climate, and how our board of directors are typically so proactive. They're on their toes, and they are changing the rules for the associations concerning electric vehicle charging stations and solar energy systems. And I was today going to say, okay, yeah, because times are changing. Times have always been changing. They really have. And we think, well, now our time is special right now because of climate change and terrorism, what have you. It's always been this way.
Right, but in the 1980s, people weren't necessarily showing up at the board meeting asking to put in artificial turf.
Different issues.
And they weren't showing up and they're different issues.
It was just different issues.
Different issues. Mule? But that's why Frank wants to bring his mule. What's the mule's name, Frank?
Hee-haw.
Hee-haw. But I think we're kind of on the same page here, that there's going to be, it's going to evolve, community associations with the times. And so their governing documents can't be prehistoric.
Well said. Right. You need to be on top of things as board members, because you're going to get caught flat-footed. And you did. You raised the other issue of artificial turf, because we really have three new laws regarding our issue of today, which is architectural review and architectural improvements. And so a board of directors and a architectural review committee, they should have a certain amount of discretion. And typically you'll find that in the CC&Rs. Subjective discretion versus objective discretion. Right, so the difference between, the difference between subjective and objective, right? It's super important to know the difference between subjective and objective. Zinger to Jonathan Broderick, what's the difference between the two? Subjectivity and objectivity.
Well, subjective would be like based on personal feelings, right?
Right.
Okay.
Objective
is to achieve an outcome.
Oh, no, objective is the opposite, is standards that you can see right there. It's a yes
reasonable.
or no. A yes or no versus a spectrum, right? Spectrum is subjectivity, objective is...
Well, that objective is just not judged by personal. Like, I am not making the decision because I feel one way or the other.
It's because of what's written down in your CC.
That's what the rules are.
Okay.
It's cut and dry.
All right. So
black and white. It's cut and dry.
I gotcha. A owner submits an application to an association for an improvement, and in this example, the Architectural Review Committee, they're going to go ahead and they're going to deny it, based on...
Hopefully it's not subjective
aesthetics.
Because they're their neighbors.
That's my example.
Right, and they're looking, we don't want his shed above the fence line, so hey, everybody.
Now, that would be an objective standard that you would like to see in the CC&Rs of the rules, and that is, where are you going to allow owners to, say, install a shed? In the backyards, front yards, backyards?
Well, that would be...
How high? Is it going to be 6 feet, 8, 7 feet? So that'd be a great rule to have, so that you don't have disputes.
You don't get caught flat-footed.
However, the rules and the CC&R provisions, realistically, Jonathan, they cannot include every single type of improvement that can be made, right?
That'd be tough.
It'd be tough. It's impossible. And so the CC&Rs, they need to allow, I believe, the Architectural Review Committee to have a certain amount of subjectivity, a certain amount of discretion based on aesthetics, based on how it looks. And I believe that. And in fact, the courts have agreed. The courts
They
have
agree
agreed.
with you?
The courts have agreed that board of directors or ARC, who's ever making the decision regarding architectural improvement applications, they can have a certain amount of subjectivity. It needs to be stated in the governing documents. It needs to be stated this aesthetic discretion. Important to have that in your CC&Rs or your rules. Now, we heard about the Narstead case just a couple minutes ago, and that provides some guidance as far as what is reasonable, because it could be that the Architectural Review Committee rules, the architectural rules, may not appear to be reasonable. And so how do we really make that determination? How can an owner say that is unreasonable? That rule, it affects me in a way that it may not affect other owners, but it is unreasonable to me. Well, the courts have said that that's not how we're going to look at the rules. We're going to look at the rules as far as whether they're reasonable, as far as their effect on the development as a whole, not on the individual owner. So the courts have said that the committee or the board that is making a decision about whether to approve an application, they can have a certain amount of reasonable discretion. Your example earlier was a owner who had installed a dock.
Yeah, a boat dock on her nice little lake. She has her lakeside property, put in this great boat dock, and it cost her a whopping $65,000.
$65,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that example, the association had a court decision, or did they just have the
court
owner,
decision?
The court decision,
Yep.
to remove the dock.
You think that she spent $65,000 on a boat dock, and she went to a board meeting, and they said, "Hey, we want you to rip this out," and she turned around and said, "Okay, we'll do it next week."
Well, your example actually
Absolutely
was
not.
a little bit different. On the contrary, you said
What do
that
you mean?
you said that the association took it out.
Yeah, they did with the
Okay.
court decision.
Okay, with the court decision.
Yeah. If I spent $65,000 on a boat dock and the board of directors told me to take my boat dock out, I'm going to enjoy my boat dock as long as I can before a court-ordered boat dock ripping out settlement.
Understood, but in your example, the owner didn't take it out.
No.
It was the board of directors. So it could have been that the board of directors took it out and then she sued the association.
No. You think so?
All right.
You can't change my story.
Well, it's a hypothetical, I think, right? Is this real?
Yep, Florida.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
So in that example, most likely the owner, in addition to not getting approval, the boat dock wasn't permitted in an objective way by the CCNRs or the rules. Because if it was permissible to have a boat dock, but the owner just didn't get approval, do you think that a court would order the owner to remove the boat dock?
Say that again.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking through my notes,
understand
trying
that.
to get I want to get the name of the case and the year for you, and what appellate court and all that good stuff. So, what's the question again?
The question is, what regardless of what the true facts are, in this case, the owner had failed to get the association's prior approval to installing the boat dock.
Correct.
However, other than that, the CCNRs in rules allow owners to install boat docks.
What about my mule?
But there's probably there could be specifications on the size of the boat dock, the material that's used for the boat dock, right? You can't just go out there and just do whatever you want.
In this case, her boat dock complied with all required specifications, all required rules and CCNRs. Do you think a court would require the owner or allow the association to remove the boat dock? I don't think
Absolutely not. I think she might have to pay a fine.
Or have a special individual assessment imposed against her?
Correct. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go to break, and then we are going to come back for the fourth quarter of the Saturday HOA brunch. What do you want to finish up with? What are you thinking?
We're going to finish up with a couple of different tips and pointers regarding architectural reviews.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Well, we hope they're listening. And we're going to dedicate the last portion of our show to Black Widow Construction today.
If you want a job done correctly.
Black Widow Construction.
Well, we do love our listeners, and we love those who text us. So we have a couple of texts that we need to address.
Man, you let those things pile up like that?
One text stated in agreement with you, and that is if the owner's dock was in complete compliance with the rules and regulations as far as its specifications, the location, the size, the aesthetics, and everything, but she just didn't get approval, then this texter said, well, the association should only be able to impose discipline such as fining or special individual assessments, things in that nature, especially if the association had incurred attorney's fees in the court case. And no doubt that it is a different law in Florida, you said, is where the case was?
Yeah.
Florida.
It wasn't alligator-friendly, apparently, the dock. So
if it was California in any event, the court would no doubt impose, because the court could impose, on an award against the losing owner in favor of the association, a judgment for all the attorney's fees that the association incurred. Because in a lawsuit between a homeowner and an association in California, the court can, actually the law says it shall, impose on the loser
attorney's fees.
The attorney's fees incurred by the winner. Unless there's a statute, a law, a case, a contractual provision that provides for the winner to receive their attorney's fees in a lawsuit, each party is responsible for their own attorney's fees. And we know the maxim on attorney fees, right?
The max?
The maxim.
The tail wags the dog.
the
The Maxwell rule.
That's it.
Maxim's the men's magazine.
And the second text was about personal agriculture. So this owner said, you talked about turf, you talked about electric vehicle charging stations, you talked about solar. So all those, the law requires associations to allow owners to have without significantly affecting the ability for the owners to install. And then the other one that we neglected to mention is personal agriculture. So this is legal crops, edible for personal use or donation in backyards. And the association, they can impose architectural rules, but they cannot significantly increase the cost of production or decrease the efficiency. Sort of a vague kind of subjective kind of a law. They talked about timely removal of dead material, timely removal of weed. And so we have, what do we have now? So we have associations have to allow owners to install solar, subject to reasonable architectural rules. And
artificial turf. Vehicle charging stations. Electric vehicle charging stations. And now? Personal agriculture. Yeah, because a lot of those terms in there in the description of that personal agriculture law is like really confused. Donations, edible, what were a couple of the other ones that you threw out there?
As far as personal agriculture?
Yeah.
Legal. It has to be legal. It has to be legal. So those are the qualifications. All right. So a couple of tips and pointers are that how are you going to, with respect to creating architectural rules? So what should board of directors think about when they create architectural rules? One is
their community.
Their community, the age of it, if there's any homes that are yet to be built, is it a condominium? So there's a lot of different factors, but
they should focus on their community and what their community needs. They shouldn't necessarily worry about something that Southern California did in a community association unless it's going to have an immediate effect on their community association.
Okay, and how about appointing a committee?
Oh yeah, committees are great. Some
help
communities have up to 80 committees, 90 committees?
Large communities.
Large communities.
Right.
Yeah.
And also the procedure that they want in place. The law requires the ability for an appeal of a decision by an architectural review committee other than a board of directors. So if you have a committee, then the governing documents need to allow an appeal. And some finer points, how about some contractor rules? If an association knows that there's going to be a significant amount of construction, then perhaps it would be a good idea to put in some rules about hours when contractors can work, the days when they can work, and
requirements,
right? And
insurance.
And how about the idea that the association can impose on an owner any cost that the association
incurs? Right. Go ahead. I'm writing all this stuff down. This is all great information.
Right. So if an association wants to do a really good job with respect to really complicated plans attached to an architectural review application, perhaps they want to consult with an architect. And so
Which they should.
If it's complicated and it's above their head, right? It's the old fiduciary duty.
Rely on an expert.
And so the rules can allow the association to impose on the owner a charge for going to the architect.
Makes sense. Anything else that you feel like we left out for the millions of community association listeners out there?
I think that about covers it.
That covers it all?
Right. I think that owners, when they submit an application, you should know that the board of directors is just one of them, and it's sometimes difficult, and it depends upon oftentimes the geography of the owner. So that was a good show today, right? We thank our listeners.
Great show. Thanks for listening.
We really appreciate our listeners.